business. Chelsea decked out in a kit inspired by the 60s. Leicester arrive at an FA Cup final for the first time since then. And to stay on brand, Wembley is swinging. Not quite bell-bottom trousers and tie-dye shirts, but a feeling of euphoric release. A bit of peace and love. Yeah, we all feel a little bit hippie-ish because we've got a crowd of 21,000 in for an FA Cup final. For Leicester, this is a rare occasion. No wonder they embrace the cup suits, the walk on the pitch, the selfies, and crucially today, the waving to familiar faces in the crowd. But for Chelsea, this is almost an annual event. A 15th final, a 4th in 5 years, but until now they've only won one of those most recent showpiece games, and Thomas Tuchel is hoping to stop them from being the first team since Newcastle 22 years ago to lose back-to-back FA Cup finals. Brendan Rodgers led Celtic to 2 Scottish Cup successes. Now he's looking to win for the first time in England and be the manager that leads Leicester to its first ever FA Cup final success. It's the first of 2 winner-takes-all encounters between these two clubs. What a week. 4 days that will in part define a season. And it all starts here, live on TalkSport, the home of the FA Cup. Andy Townsend knows what it's like to win and lose at Wembley. Andy, how important is that first touch for the Leicester players who haven't experienced this occasion before?
Yeah, I think it is very important today for Leicester City to, of course, stick to their game plan, but to be brave, to be courageous, to try and get on that ball, to make things happen. Yeah, and you want to get involved in an occasion like this. The biggest fear for a footballer when you're playing in a big event like this one today is missing the day, missing the occasion. Your game just wasn't quite there. You just never quite did enough. You can't have that sort of regret on FA Cup final day. You want to be a winner. You want to be part of a team that in 90 odd minutes, who knows, maybe a bit more, are parading this trophy around the pitch to their fans.
Our referee is Mike Oliver, who takes charge of his second FA Cup final, the VAR, Chris Kavanagh. And we do make a bit of history today. Sian Massey-Ellis is the assistant VAR. She is the first ever female to be part of a FA Cup final officiating team. Chelsea with Arida Balaga in goal, Azpilicueta, Silva and Rudiger, James, Conte, Jorginho, Alonso, Ziyech, Mount and Werner. And on the biggest stage of all 22 players take a knee, a defiant pledge, a show of solidarity, echoing the message that there is no room for racism. And then we are underway with Leicester City in maroon attacking the goal away to our left, and Chelsea all in blue, a brand new strip for them, psychedelic blue swirls attacking the goal to our right, and they're immediately on the front foot with Werner, who darts down in behind Johnny Evans, gets to the byline, tries to centre it, it goes straight into the arms of Kasper Schmeichel.
Sam, just looking at one thing, Reece James is playing as one of the centre halves here. He's playing alongside Thiago Silva, as Azpilicueta is playing as the wing back in front of him. So now whether that stays that way, whether or not that evolves into something perhaps a little bit more normal, we'll see. But at the moment, it's not the experience of Azpilicueta alongside Thiago Silva, it's Reece James in that position.
Well, that's a major change, and Reece James hasn't played that position very often for Chelsea. He played in midfield for Wigan on loan a couple of seasons ago, and I think he's probably capable of playing as a member of a back three. But we haven't seen it. Usually it's the other way round, isn't it, between James and Azpilicueta.
And actually it was I wonder if it was part of Brendan Rodgers' thought process with regards to playing Luke Thomas as the left wing back. He thought he'd be in direct confrontation with Reece James, but it's not panned out like that.
Onto Ziyech, and then onto Werner, who runs towards the right angle of the penalty area. In behind, Soyuncu gets to the byline, low cross into the centre. Fofana is there in front of Ziyech to knock it away towards the near side, and then Mount just nudges over Luke Thomas in front of the Leicester fans away to our right, and it goes for a free kick to Leicester City. We've played, a little over 2 minutes. You're listening to TalkSport, and it's Chelsea 0, Leicester City 0 in the FA Cup final, the 140th FA Cup final, live on TalkSport.
I also think that perhaps Thomas Tuchel's playing Leicester a lot of compliments here. I think Reece James may well be playing there because of Vardy, because of the pace, because of that threat on this big Wembley pitch. But if he starts to sprint in behind that back line, if it was to be Azpilicueta, then he might be feeling a little bit vulnerable. Reece James, though, is going to run anybody. He'll go yard for yard with anybody out there.
The Leicester team is Schmeichel in goal, Fofana, Evans and Soyuncu, Castagna, Tielemans, Ndidi and Thomas, and then Perez, Iheanacho and Vardy. And Thomas just under a little bit of pressure, sees it back to his goalkeeper, and then it's fired out towards the far side, looking for Castagna. It's just over his head, Schmeichel's ball, and it goes out for a throw into Chelsea, 10 yards inside opposition territory. A fast start to the game. Chelsea in that new blue kit that's only been released in the last 24 hours with a thick yellow trim down the side of each half of the jersey. Azpilicueta miscontrols on this near side. He's given it to Tielemans. Now Vardy down the left to Iheanacho in the centre. The cross goes straight into the arms of Rida Balaga, and it's collected by Chelsea's goalkeeper and bowled out to the far side. But you can't afford to be casual in that sort of position when in possession.
Yeah, good chance actually for Jamie Vardy just to fire something across the 6-yard box. Whenever you get into a wide area, you can't always pick people out, drop it on a sixpence. Sometimes you just got to put it into an area. You've just got to ask your teammates to make the ground up and try and get on the end of things.
Reece James playing in an unfamiliar position as one of the back three today for Chelsea, whose fans are now on their feet, and you can hear them as Rudiger picks the ball up in the left full-back position. It was a dicey ball by him. He's given it to Thomas midway inside the Chelsea half. Conte goes across, tidies up for Chelsea, being chased by the 19-year-old into midfield, collected by Rudiger again, who looked a little bit nervy there with his ball out of defence. Jorginho short with his back pass, inviting Vardy to chase. You can't encourage that. And now Jorginho's got it again. Leicester City, who have caused more than one or two problems for the Big Six this season. In fact, they're the only team that's beaten every single member of that group. And Thomas Tuchel will certainly be aware of that. Forward by Jorginho. Verne around the corner. Soyuncu chasing back to try and get there ahead of Mount, who does receive the ball first. Azpilicueta has gone with him. He's held it, turned, and tried to wriggle away from the Turkish international. And Mount still has it. Flicks it on to Jorginho. Dead centre of the Leicester half is Ziyech now. Out towards the left. Ziyech, the first Moroccan to play in an FA Cup final. Out to Alonso, so experienced in these showpiece events. Tries to get it back again. Fofana comes across, wins the ball. Brilliant defending by the youngster, who actually lost in the French Cup final last year to Thomas Tuchel when he was playing for St Etienne. Here is Conte charging forward, being watched by the fabulous Ndidi. Infield it goes to Jorginho, and then square out to James once more. On this right side there's some space for Azpilicueta, and Chelsea coming forward now with Mount 10 yards outside the area. The Leicester fans booing as Chelsea dominate possession in the early stages now. Jorginho, Conte makes a dart, receives the ball, edge of the box is Mount, wider right now Azpilicueta, Werner waiting in the centre, the ball takes a deflection as the cross comes in, and it goes out for the first corner of the game, and it goes Chelsea's way. Here's Andy Townsend.
Yeah, good football from Chelsea. Just shunting the ball left side, then across the field out to Azpilicueta in that high right wing back position, and it's he who actually forces the corner in the end, which Reece James is trotting out to whip in. But that's kind of the way that I feel and anticipate what we're going to see. I think we're going to see Chelsea predominantly playing in Leicester territory, and it's just how quickly Leicester can kind of win that ball and break.
6 gone, 0-0. James with the corner right side for Chelsea. Flicks it in towards the near post. It's headed straight out by Johnny Evans and away for a throw-in between the edge of the penalty area and the byline away to our right-hand side. Chelsea have been successful from corners throughout the course of the season. They had 2 great chances in the Champions League semi-final, which Thiago Silva missed. They may be a threat from set pieces today.
It's a good point. He's very, very good in those situations, Thiago Silva. They work those little blocks particularly well to allow him to find a bit of space, and again, he always attacks it with genuine purpose to want to go and get on the end of it.
And Leicester have got Johnny Evans back, so he'll marshal that defence much better than they have performed in recent matches. Chelsea, of course, lost here last season to the terrific Aubameyang goal for Arsenal, which won them the cup final for the 14th time. And the previous year, they lost the Carabao Cup final under Maurizio Sarri. Speaking to the squad this week, they have had discussions about ensuring they try and put that record right. And they've been on the front foot from the start. They've won another corner. It's still 0-0.
Yeah, this time Hakim Ziyech is coming out to whip it in, so you would think that this one is going to come in under Kasper Schmeichel's bar. It's good work from Mason Mount, actually, good persistence from him to keep going and force the corner off of Soyuncu. And again, it's just looking for Rudiger and Thiago Silva. Marcos Alonso's a big man as well. They're all huddled around that penalty spot, just trying to find a yard of space.
Chelsea attacking the goal away to our right, putting pressure on Leicester in the early exchanges. And here's the corner from Ziyech, left-footed, deep towards the far post. Alonso was underneath it. It was a good header away by Wesley Fofana. Back in by James. Underneath her is Azpilicueta. Away, and then only as far as the penalty spot where Thiago Silva tried to square it back across the face of goal. Chelsea going down the right again. Thomas has dived in on Ziyech. Ziyech has kept hold of the ball. Then there's a foul by the Moroccan on the retreating Iosi Perez, and a free kick is given to Leicester City in the left full-back position. 0-0. You're listening to Talk Sport. It's the FA Cup final, live from Wembley, with 22,000 fans, roughly 6,000 from each. The bottom tiers of this wonderful bowl of a stadium, dappled with lots of blue and white everywhere, loads of blue and white everywhere. The Chelsea fans were given flags, hats and a pin badge away to our left to celebrate and commemorate the occasion. The Leicester supporters who have been here pretty much all day. I walked up at around about 1 o'clock this afternoon and they were all ready on Wembley Way, getting ready for their first FA Cup final in 52 years.
Do you know, it feels like 40-odd thousand to me.
Oh, yeah.
Such is the noise and I think the genuine excitement and just the anticipation around the whole day. It's great. It's so lovely to see fans on terraces once more.
I did see Brendan Rodgers say this morning as well, as Jamie Vardy just tackles Reece James away to our left rather heartily, that Leicester were the people's choice, the neutrals that hope to cause a kind of upset that was caused by Coventry City in 87, Wigan in 2013, and this is the first FA Cup final that has been played before the end of the Premier League season since 2013. And we know what happened on that day. Ben Watson scored late on and the underdogs won. Wigan against Manchester City. Chelsea, though, have the ball on halfway. Just over that, to the left of the centre circle, is Antonio Rudiger. He's funneled it on to Ziyech and then Alonso, and then it's loose by Rudiger again in midfield, and he's given it away to Leicester, who look to try and counter-attack, but Conte is there, as he always is, tidying up for Chelsea. Luke Thomas whips the ball down the left. Vardy goes on a run. James is there to protect that, isn't he? He's there to get there ahead of Jamie Vardy. He's done it.
Seen that. Exactly that is why Thomas Tuchel has tweaked the team accordingly. Now, of course, they're going to miss Reece James at the top of the field, but I think early on what they don't want to do is encourage Leicester, encourage Vardy to feel like he's got the better of Azpilicueta in that gully. Reece James there, shoulder to shoulder with the Leicester man, and too strong for him to see it out for a goal kick.
Chelsea took the lead in last season's cup final when Christian Pulisic put Frank Lampard's team ahead, but they gave away a penalty and went in 1-1 at half-time and then found themselves 2-1 behind shortly afterwards. Here's Mount. He's playing in his second FA Cup final, only 22 years of age. Lost the ball in midfield, Ndidi. He's used one of those tentacles that he's got to drag the ball back from almost impossible distances and set Leicester on the attack. Infield it goes to Tielemans, and now just short of the halfway line is Wesley Fofana, one of probably Leicester's signing of the season. Played into a Iheanacho, who immediately is surrounded by blue jerseys and robbed of the ball. Ziyech helping out, and Jorginho has it just left of centre. Now it's on to Ziyech again. Mount the furthest up the pitch at the moment. Werner went to spin in behind and then checked. Back on the left side now with Ziyech. 0-0 the score in the FA Cup final. Sent long by Chelsea, too far, and straight through to Kasper Schmeichel, who grew up in a house where the FA Cup was a regular visitor.
Yeah.
Brought back by his dad. And won it on 3 occasions. He's looking to emulate that today, is Kasper. His 46th appearance of the season. Chelsea had an upturn in form, didn't they, when Thomas Tuchel came in. They haven't conceded a goal under him in this competition. The last goal they let in was Jordan Clark's consolation for Luton in round 4. And Leicester City certainly have had a tougher run to the FA Cup final this year. Tougher opposition from the Championship and the Premier League. A lot of Chelsea's opponents have come from the division below at least. Listen to that noise. No wonder Brendan Rodgers hoped that the fact that he had 6,000 Foxes fans inside this ground would lift his team's performance. Foul on Jorginho by Tielemans. Has to be a bit careful.
A little bit careful, just again I understand sometimes the desire when Jorginho gets the ball, he's very comfortable with it and exceptionally good at keeping his team ticking over. But if you can pinch it off him, he's not the quickest with his recovery run, so you can get it and then run beyond him. That'll be something that Leicester will try and do. They'll have spoke about that for sure. And I think it's important today. I'm just looking at Ayoze Perez. He's the one that's got to try and somehow get across the ground and get up alongside Vardy and Iheanacho when Leicester have good possession, but also then look to get back and make those numbers up, which allows Ndidi and Tielemans to get just that little bit tighter to Ziyech and Mason Mount in particular.
0-0. Here is Rudiger over on the far side, a couple of yards in from the left touchline, midway inside Leicester territory, in front of the Leicester supporters on the far side of the ground. It's clipped forward by Jorginho down the left channel, headed away by Castagna, collected by Ziyech and then moved out towards the left where Alonso has it, onto Ziyech, left-footed cross, deep towards the far post, too heavy for Azpilicueta. It runs over the head of Thomas as well and then runs out of play down the slope and towards the advertising hoardings, the digital advertising hoardings here at Wembley, and away for a throw-in to Leicester City.
Good start to the game though, Sam.
Yeah, lively start.
Taz, it's been good. It's been a good start. I think, again, there's signs, good signs, encouraging signs that we're going to have an open, attack-minded game here. And I think, why not? If you think from a Leicester point of view, Brendan wants to, of course, be cautious and make sure they stay in the game, but he'd much rather get in front than have to go behind before they really start to consider having a go.
And we are getting sort of confirmation, I thought this at the time, that when the players took the knee, there was a small group of supporters who booed rather disappointingly. I'm sure that will come under scrutiny later. Ball is away to our right-hand side with Luke Thomas of Leicester City, 19 years of age, has the ball in his hands. First FA Cup final appearance for him. It's the first FA Cup final appearance for a lot of the Leicester team, but more significantly for the teenager. Here is Jorginho, just in front of the centre circle. Plays it square to Rudiger, who's joining up toward the attack. He runs forward, right-footed shot. It's a couple of yards wide. It's first shot in anger really from Chelsea, but it wasn't particularly convincing. But Antonio Rudiger loves to get forward.
He does, and funny enough, as soon as Rudiger took that shot, and by the way, Rudiger's been exceptional since Tuchel has arrived. He's been outstanding. His defensive work has been wonderful, really strong. But he does like to step forward and fancies his chances with a shot. As soon as he hit that, he had the shake of the head of disapproval from his coach. As you can imagine, when a centre-half has a shot, and it's not a particularly good one.
Leicester, the top scoring side in this season's FA Cup, yet to really have a shot on goal. Not that that's something that's too unusual with Chelsea, because they try to dominate possession so that the other team don't have shots on goal. That's kind of their modus operandi under their relatively new manager. Here is Rudiger on the edge of his own penalty area, whipped by Alonso into centre circle, where it's clipped by Werner, whose early jump didn't really make for a good pass to Mount. He tried to nudge it through on halfway to Azpilicueta before it was cut out by Soyuncu. Here's Johnny Evans commanding at the back, sending the ball out towards the far side, and it's clipped over the top, down the right, looking for Castagna, who gets in behind Alonso. Crossing to Vardy, it's blocked by James. It was a good effort from Vardy on the volley, tried to nudge it towards goal. James was there to block it.
Good football, excellent work from Castagna, who was released very quickly down Leicester's right, Chelsea's left. Took one touch and then just saw Jamie Vardy just check back towards the penalty spot, cut it back for him. But that Vardy shot was blocked. But that's the most encouraging bit of football from Leicester so far.
Great opportunity for Jamie Vardy, who is yet to score in this season's FA Cup. His first ever appearances in the FA Cup came for Stockbridge Steels and Halifax. 2007 he started playing FA Cup football, 14 years ago. He's become today the first player to play in all 14 rounds of the competition. Ball flicked on towards Vardy. Thiago Silva just had a couple of yards head start, got there first, and has managed to just squeeze it back to Kepa Arrizabalaga. He plays it wide to James and then up to the halfway line, looking for Timo Werner. It just ricochets out towards this near side. Thomas Tuchel holds on to the ball when Timo Werner wanted to get things started again. Tuchel just wanted Azpilicueta just to take charge, just sensing that Chelsea, who started with quite a lot of control in the game, just surrendered a little bit to Leicester in the last 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah, in the last few moments Leicester have got a little better, but again Johnny Evans there going in really tight on Timo Werner as that ball's laid into his feet. Johnny Evans not allowing Werner to take a touch and try and manoeuvre that ball or even turn. Bundles into the floor, concedes the free kick just over the halfway line. We're in the 18th minute of the game on a noisy afternoon in North London, where it is Chelsea 0, Leicester City 0. Reece James playing as one of 3 centre-halves today, plays it forward to Conte, back to Thiago Silva out to Rudiger finds Alonso. Now it's back with Jorginho, round the corner into Ziyech, being chased by Fofana. Good pressing high up the field from Leicester City as Chelsea tried to break that into Ziyech, won by Fofana, brilliant tackle on halfway, played into Tielemans, then Iheanacho, he's surrounded, Chelsea win it back, Conte, Jorginho, Ndidi with a rather wild challenge. Chelsea have the ball, Michael Oliver wants to play the advantage, but I think Ndidi will be spoken to as soon as there's a stoppage in play, and the rain starts to come down on FA Cup final day. It hasn't stopped raining, has it? Crikey. Someone needs to tell the gods of the weather that it's May. Rudiger robs the ball, tries to send it down the left to Ziyech. Ziyech tries to spring Werner. Werner can't get in behind because Fofana is alert. It goes out for a throw-in over on the far side. And with that bit of rain, Sam, all of a sudden we've had the ball changing hands very quickly. Just 4 or 5 times there in the space of 30 seconds.
Throwing over on the far side, comes in towards Kasper Schmeichel, who deals with it, and wasn't close enough to Azpilicueta, and it's a way for Leicester to build from the back again. Leicester don't often have much of the ball. Their tactic will be to win it high up the pitch. That was a ball over the top looking for Iheanacho, and Thiago Silva just came across and I think it struck the inside of his arm. Free kick has been given to Leicester in a dangerous position, Andy, on the right of the penalty area.
Yes, it was a lovely touch from Iheanacho, because he just tried to flick that around Thiago Silva. It certainly hit the defender's hand. He didn't know anything about it, but had it not have touched his hand there, Iheanacho would have actually been able to skip past the Chelsea man and would have been bearing down on the goal. As it is, free kick awarded. Chelsea holding a really high line on the edge of the 18-yard box, and Leicester pile those maroon shirts in and around them to try and find a little bit of space.
First major cup final for Leicester since 2000, when Matt Elliott scored twice to lift the League Cup. Here is the corner, the free kick over on the far side, taken by Tielemans towards the back post, header by Sionchu over the top of the crossbar. Well, he scored a terrific header in the game against Manchester United in midweek, and that was a chance for Leicester City.
Was a chance, yep, certainly was. Sionchu just probably the last one to get back up onto his feet, because he realised that perhaps he could have took a little more care. A lot of traffic in and around him. There's a lot of big men there all contesting for that ball. It was whipped into a dangerous area, but it was Sionchu that met it, and he met it quite well. He just couldn't keep it on target.
Change of jacket for Brendan Rodgers, who's standing on the edge of his technical area, perched with a pair of what is now the ubiquitous type of trainer, smart trainer, isn't it? The dark leather with the white soles. Long ball up to Mount, flicked onto Azpilicueta, back to Mount, edge of the area, or it came through Ziyech's legs and then was scurried away on the far side. Castagna picks it up, and now the torrential rain actually causing a little bit of haze in front of us. So, you know, it's just, the visibility hasn't gone down too much, but it has put like a haze over the course of our vista. And the ball goes out on the far side, and Chelsea look to build again. But that was a quick ball up towards Mount, and Chelsea trying to fashion a more direct approach there. And the ball was eventually wrapped in by Mount. I think it was a shot on goal, really, that came off Werner and Evans and spilt towards Ziyech, went through his legs and then out towards the far side. But Leicester have it back again. Then they've given it away. Ziyech tries to send Werner down the left-hand side. Iheanacho, 40, was fouled. The ball's gone all the way back to Johnny Evans, who's got it to Schmeichel. Chelsea keep the pressure on. Mount trying to run at Sionchu, and then Thomas tries to squeeze it forward. Doesn't get a great contact on it. Jorginho's got it back again. The rain teeming down at Wembley. And it's still 0-0 between Chelsea and Leicester in the FA Cup final. These two meet on Tuesday night in a massive top four decider as well. We've got the game between Burnley and Liverpool on Wednesday, 8:15 kickoff. That could be crucial as well. Here is Werner trying to turn, plays it infield to Jorginho, out towards the far side. Now there's a chance for Alonso to get to the edge of the box. Too much space for Ziyech. He pulls it back towards Alonso, takes it in his stride. There's a tackle inside the box on him. The VAR will look at it, although there wasn't too much of a protest from Alonso, and most of those protests, Andy Townsend, came from the Chelsea supporters.
They did, yeah. No, nothing wrong with that. It was a challenge in the box, but I think it was a good one. And you can see when Leicester win the ball, immediately Iheanacho and Vardy, they're spinning into those wider areas, in behind the wide centre-backs. It's just got to find the right delivery.
Lovely turn away from Sionchu towards the edge of the area. Left-footed shot just wide of the left-hand upright. And a really good effort from Mason Mount, who picked the ball up just in front of the 18-yard box, rolled the defender Sionchu, got to the edge of the penalty area. It took a little nick on the way through, and it's out for another Chelsea corner.
He's actually been Chelsea's most influential player, I think, so far, Mason Mount, just purely by the positions that he's taken up. You know, he's operating just in behind Ndidi, as I mentioned, in front of those three central defenders for Leicester, but he's always available, and he's getting it on the half turn, and he's just started to now drive into some dangerous areas. That shot 4 or 5 minutes ago wasn't particularly good. That one was a lot closer.
Good start to the cup final. 0-0. And we've played 23 breathless minutes so far. The ball is on the right. Chelsea have a corner. Ziyech whips it in too close to the goalkeeper, who comes out and catches and will clear away. And immediately Schmeichel dispatches upfield, looking for the run of Iheanacho, and it's headed out by N'Golo Kanté. Strange stat of the day. Would you like one?
Go on.
The last time it rained on FA Cup final day was the 21st of May 2005. Arsenal 0, Manchester United 0. Arsenal won 5-4 on penalties. And they didn't deserve it, if I remember rightly. I think Manchester United dominated that game. That was 16 years ago. Here is Rudiger under pressure from Iheanacho.
Yeah, he's testing Iheanacho's first touch. Rudiger, so tight, he does that. You can tell very much under Tuchel, those central defenders of Chelsea, they have to go really tight. If it doesn't matter, whoever drops into the space, you go in there with them and you see the danger right out. No one does that better than Rudiger, and he's really working Iheanacho's technical ability right from the get-go.
Few subplots out there today, isn't there? Brendan Rodgers, having worked at Chelsea for 4 years, given the chance to be part of a team put together by Jose Mourinho. Conte, Chilwell's on the bench today, well thought of as members of a Leicester squad that won the league. Chilwell didn't play too many games. In fact, most of his games were in cup competitions that season, but Conte was a linchpin of a midfield with Danny Drinkwater, who also made his way to Chelsea. Didn't quite work out for him. Here's Perez, onto Tielemans, midway point of the Chelsea half, tries to unleash a shot, blocked by Thiago Silva, comes back to Perez again, dead centre of the Chelsea half, onto Iheanacho, Vardy waiting in the centre, Rudiger goes out and engages quickly once again, and then Ziyech will run it clear out towards the far side. It's a bit behind Werner, he's clattered by Ndidi, and Ndidi's had a couple now.
Yeah.
A couple of freebies from Michael Oliver, the referee, just spoken to, free kick given just short of the halfway line, left of centre.
I think that'll be his last one, Wilfred Ndidi. I mean, that's what he's there for. I mean, Leicester had good possession high in Chelsea territory there, but when it went out of their hands and Chelsea looked to counter through Werner, Ndidi there to deny him very quickly.
Ball whipped up by Azpilicueta this time to Timo Werner, who rises. Reece James with a strong challenge. Referee says play on. Leicester fans aren't happy about it. It's interesting, isn't it? You know, for so long these players have been getting used to operating without this authentic soundtrack. All of a sudden there's that extra little bit of pressure that comes with it, and it will cause one or two to wilt under that pressure. It will encourage another section of the group as well. I
honestly believe that it will get players back on their feet quicker once we get significant numbers back in our stadiums like today, and that's what we want. I think one or two have laboured the point a little bit without the fans in when they've gone down under challenges.
You and I were at Old Trafford on Thursday night when Bruno Fernandes was audible.
Yeah. And I think once the fans get back in the stadium and the roar goes up, you get back on your feet, you get back in the game quickly.
Contact driving forward, Werner's picked it up, he's running, it's 2-on-2 here, he shoots right foot in, blasted over the bar. I mean, it's a terrible effort from Werner, really, and he's kicked the ground in frustration because he knows that Chelsea had a little bit of an opportunity there. Two men running at a back line, Mount and Werner both running at Evans and Soyuncu, 2-on-2, and he's wasted that chance.
That was a waste. And again, Timo Werner has worked hard this season, I felt, at times to overcome the problems he's had with his numbers and his goals, but that was a poor effort.
He's in again here, he's picked it up, he's got Conte to his right, he's got Mount to his left. Here's Ziyech on the edge of the penalty area, delivering across towards the far post, and it's a Leicester defender who glances it away, despite the fact there was no blue presence. And then Mount just shields the ball, it goes out of play and away for a throw-in down by the corner flag.
There, Sam, I genuinely feel Werner should be running at Johnny Evans again and trying to move the ball half a yard to get a shot away.
Yeah.
He passed that up, he went out to Alonso wide left, who ends up crossing it to nobody.
Ball has been clipped behind and out from a throw-in into another Chelsea corner. It's corner number 4.
What I have seen as well is that Johnny Evans, every time Werner gets the ball, is very quick to backpedal, Sam. Now, whether that's paying a lot of respect to the pace of the Chelsea man, or whether that problem he's had with his heel and his ankle, whether that's 100% right and he doesn't want to be left too vulnerable, too high up the field.
Here is the corner then, to be taken by Hakim Ziyech for Chelsea on this near side, left-footed towards the edge of the 6-yard box, away by Johnny Evans, collected by Mount, right angle of the penalty area, back to Ziyech. Mount wants it back again, he's going to get it, he's in behind by the byline, produces across towards the far post, might come through towards Rudiger inside the area, tees it out for Thiago Silva, Werner with a header, missed at the back post, and it goes behind and away for a goal kick. Azpilicueta, I think it was, who was coming in at the far post, didn't quite connect with the ball, but Chelsea there really testing Leicester's resilience. 0-0.
They did well, Chelsea, to keep that ball alive. They recycled it twice in the box. Mason Mount it was who drove to the byline, stood it up towards the far post. It eventually drops for Thiago Silva, who gives it a clever little clip pass towards that edge of the 6-yard line. Werner attacks it, misses it, and Azpilicueta is so close to getting a vital touch on it.
Still 0-0. But a very entertaining encounter here at Wembley. And the current score emblazoned on the two gigantic screens at both ends of this ground, which are the size of 600 domestic TV set, reads Chelsea 0, Leicester City 0. Ndidi weaving out of defence with the ball. Leicester about to progress into the Chelsea half for the first time in a while. It's Fofana who leads the charge, and Castagna immediately closed down by Hakim Ziyech, who's got better and better as the season has gone on, really.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Some important goals for Chelsea just recently, and I think that's why he's got the nod a little bit over maybe Havertz, who's himself scored 1 or 2 nice goals just of late, missed that big chance against Arsenal the other night and presented with that opportunity. But Ziyech starts, and it's been a good game. It's been good so far, it's been lively. It's, as I mentioned earlier, I think there's genuine reason to be optimistic that we're going to have a really hardly contested game here, and it's going to be a tight one.
Fofana, one of 3 central defenders for Leicester City, who has the ball on the far side. Rain still coming down here, and indeed he misplaces a pass as he tries to find a Iheanacho. Hasn't really got into the game yet, Kelechi Iheanacho. He's had such a good goal scoring run. He is the top scorer this season with 18 goals. He's in terrific form, 15 goals in 17 appearances. Before February the 1st, he'd scored 3 in 19.
Yeah, I think he is a goal scorer, and sometimes his work on the halfway line isn't the best. Vardy's much better in that respect, but Iheanacho has just had that incredible knack at the moment for getting in the right position.
Oh dear, Johnny Evans is down on his haunches, and immediately Leicester City have turned to their bench and start to think about what to do. He's been out with a heel injury. You'll remember he was withdrawn from the team sheet ahead of their Newcastle defeat last Friday night. He hasn't been seen since. They were desperate to try and get him on the pitch for the cup final. He so far has lasted 31 minutes. It was the big story for Leicester in the build-up to the game, but I'm a bit concerned that he might not be able to carry on.
Well, I noticed each time Werner picked the ball up, he retreated immediately, almost just, and he was giving Werner far too much room there to turn, run at him and get a shot away. But Johnny Evans was almost saying, I'm happy for you to shoot from distance, I just don't want you to go by me. And I think the way that he's now ambling towards the touchline suggests that Johnny Evans' race is run, I'm afraid.
They've got Daniel Almaty on the bench and Wes Morgan on the bench. I wonder whether or not they might bring on Mark Albrighton and just tuck Castagna in as a third centre-half, as they did against Manchester United.
Well, they did that in the Newcastle game. In the end, Castagna went alongside Soyuncu and Fofana as the third central defender. And Mark Albrighton come on and played left side wing back. Now, he won't do that, obviously, with Luke Thomas. He'll go and play on the right side, you would think. But there was a few too many changes, I felt, with that Leicester team against Newcastle after Johnny Evans' injury warm-up problem. And it'd be very interesting to see which way Brendan Rodgers goes about this. He won't want to make too many adjustments to what his team have done so far.
I think it's going to be Albrighton. Yeah, here he comes down the stairs, slaps hands with Johnny Evans, a word in his ear. It's a sad moment for Johnny Evans. He's replaced by Mark Albrighton, who I think will go over on the right side and initially play as a wing back. On Tuesday night at Manchester United, he actually played almost as a half wing back, half winger, and they switched between a 4 and a 3.
Okay.
And I wonder whether or not that will be the system again today. But Castagna has gone in closer to Fofana. Just got to be careful of that gap, haven't they, in between the left-sided centre-half. Here on the far side is Mount into the penalty area, cross which is deep and goes miles behind Ziyech. It's retrieved by Azpilicueta. And now Reece James has it on the halfway line. I mean, up until now, I think both managers would be satisfied with what's happened.
Yes, yep, absolutely. I think that Tuchel would have asked his team to maybe have worked Kasper Schmeichel once or twice more than they have. I think their shooting hasn't been good enough up to now, Chelsea's, but they've got in some dangerous areas. They've got behind Leicester's 3 central defenders a few times, and as for Leicester themselves, well, they've enjoyed a decent bit of possession. Once or twice they've threatened. There was a little half chance for Jamie Vardy. So I think so far both coaches will be reasonably happy. Now, what's going to be interesting is how this Leicester team now copes with losing Johnny Evans.
35 gone. Cup final. Football on TalkSport. The 140th FA Cup final live here on TalkSport this afternoon. We've got loads more football for you to come as Castagna wires into Mount, then Fofana wires in to Timo Werner. Yellow card comes out for Fofana, and I think another one's going to come out for Castagna.
Yeah.
So they've just lost Johnny Evans, and now 2 of their back 4 have been booked.
And you see what happens there. Fofana immediately goes in really tight on Timo Werner, tries to pinch a ball and win a ball that he can't really get. He's not favourite to get, and he ends up getting a yellow card.
Did he book Castagna? I'm not sure he did he?
I'm not sure if he did, I don't know.
He's called him over, he started to talk to him, he did get his card out of his pocket, but I don't think he actually distributed it.
I think because he made the first challenge out of those 2, Sam, in quick succession. There was one on Mason Mount. The ball broke out of that little challenge into Fofana and Werner. Fofana gets the card.
Here is Alonso on the far side, the left, from a quick tap free kick. Goes back into the Chelsea half, and Thiago Silva at the base of the Chelsea defence has it, and then sends it back to his goalkeeper, who hasn't seen too much action in the opening 36 minutes that we've had here at Wembley. 0-0 the score. Ball chipped forward by Jorginho, retrieved by Ziyech, who immediately wants to get it out towards the left side, looking for Alonso, headed down towards Castagna, picked up by Iheanacho. One thing that will happen now that Albrighton's on the field is that they'll get great delivery from that right-hand side, and Vardy and Iheanacho will be pleased with that. He does deliver a beautiful right-wing cross, Mark Albrighton. Here is Thomas onto Perez. Perez now running at James, goes to go on the outside and then loses the ball betwixt his feet. James slips, they retreat, go back into midfield, and Ndidi over to the far side. Castagna's ball away by Jorginho, then Mount just dollies it up towards the halfway line. Soyuncu returns it with a bit of interest, a header by Reece James into midfield, and then back again from Castagna down to Kelechi Iheanacho, the Nigerian who scored the winner in the semi-final. It's up towards the 18-yard box, headed away by Silva, cleared away up to Mount, good control by him, good spin, and then he plays the ball forward. The ball apparently was won by Castagna. The Chelsea fans not happy about it. They wanted a free kick. It's not forthcoming, and Leicester have got the ball again. A real contest, a battle, a fight, a scrap out in that midfield area. And certainly Mount and Ziyech, who have just switched in the last 5 minutes in terms of sides, are on the thick end of it.
Yeah. You mentioned Mason Mount, I think, has over the season has developed into a game changer for this Chelsea team. He does get himself in great situations, and again, he's been quite prominent at times for Chelsea in his first period.
Top scorer under Thomas Tuchel, Mason Mount. His 51st appearance of the season. He's got a great mentality and says that he wants to win trophies with Chelsea. If he won today, it would be his first major trophy. He says that he grew up in the Chelsea Academy from the age of 6, trying to emulate, or hoping to emulate, the heroes of yesteryear. And he's determined to lead Chelsea on the pitch. I mean, he talks about being a leader now. He did an interview this week where he talks about, I know I'm young, but I know I have to set an example.
Yeah. No, he's a top operator for sure.
0-0. And Leicester City have the ball in their own half, just in front of the penalty box that they're defending, all the way back to Kasper Schmeichel, who's trying to follow in his father's footsteps today. Sends the ball long up towards the halfway line. It's controlled by Iheanacho. Rudiger got sold short. It's forward towards Vardy. James reacts well, heads it clear, forward and away by Alonso, and now Ziyech seems to be in an onside position, runs to the edge of the box, plays a reverse ball into Timo Werner, whose shot is blocked brilliantly by Fofana, and then a second time. Claims of handball, but it was a brilliant block by Fofana, and Leicester survive a Chelsea attack. And there's a foul by Timo Werner. Quite a wild challenge on Luke Thomas, and that's going to earn the Germany yellow card.
Yeah. Challenges coming in thick and fast there. Wesley Fofana did brilliant. Couple of really incisive blocks as Chelsea were looking to get shots on to Kasper Schmeichel. And then after Leicester had seen that little bit of danger out, it's Timo Werner actually stumbles into a challenge a little bit with Luke Thomas, clatters into the Leicester man and gets himself a yellow card.
Well, Werner's shot hits the leg of Fofana, brilliant block, and then popped up and hit his arm. There's no suggestion that that can be a penalty, because it comes off a different part of the body which deflects it onto the arm, which was going down anyway to support his body. Werner gets his yellow card, which goes quite nicely with that big, thick zigzag stripe down the side of his kit, which I've got to say, the Chelsea kit is interesting.
Yeah.
It's not your normal attire, is it? It's a rather interesting pattern in the background there, which I don't think we've seen before. We've got to try new things, I suppose. I wouldn't.
It's yellow, Sam, as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is yellow, but they
back to that, yeah.
Exactly. They've always played with that. A bit of blue and a bit of yellow in there too.
Yeah. Here on the halfway line is Castagna. Leicester City in maroon today, with a white stripe down the side of their kit. They have it on the halfway line. Brighton trying to get the better of Alonso. Alonso, well, dragged him back over on the far side and pushed him out of play. A free kick is given just short of the halfway line. 5 minutes before half-time. You're listening to Talk Sport, and it's goalless between Leicester City and Chelsea, fighting it out for the FA Cup final and fighting it out for a place in the top 4.
Just looking at Jamie Vardy's position for Leicester, he's now standing on Thiago Silva a bit. Doesn't fancy that race every time with Reece James. So he's deciding to try and just pin himself against Thiago Silva, and anything over his head, then he might suggest he's favourite for it.
N'Golo Conte helped win it back. James fired it into Jorginho, didn't quite reach him. A little deflection takes it to the edge of the Chelsea box. Rudiger gets there ahead of Iheanacho. Drops for Perez though. Jorginho is there. And apparently that's a foul by Jorginho that's going to result in a free kick to Leicester City. A good 20 yards outside the penalty area here. But an opportunity maybe for Luke Thomas or Brighton or Tielemans to tee up a set-piece opportunity at the end of this first half.
Yeah, good touch initially from Jose Perez, which invited Jorginho to try and pinch it. He felt he did fairly, but Michael Oliver gives Leicester a chance to whip it in.
It's Thomas who delivers the ball in towards Soyuncu with a free header at the near post, and he steers it wide. What a chance.
What's a chance?
Lovely ball, left-footed, curling it towards the penalty spot. Just in front of that, Soyuncu got there first, and he steered it wide.
He might have got a little bit too much on it in trying to snap his head to get good contact. He just might have made just too much of that. Yeah, he does there, Soyuncu. He wants to glance that. He catches it with his forehead a little bit more and knocks it well wide. That was a little window of opportunity there from that free kick.
It's the first of two cup finals involving Chelsea this weekend. The UEFA Women's Champions League final between Chelsea women and Barcelona Feminine will be live on Talk Sport tomorrow, 7 o'clock. Kick-off 8 o'clock. Faye Carruthers in the chair. I'll be joined with England's women's most capped international, the Lionesses' greatest, Farrah Williams, and Sheffield United women's striker Courtney Sweetman-Kirk. And we are on air at 7 o'clock tomorrow night. That game taking place in Gothenburg. Ball is on the right, and it's collected by Castagna. Played out towards the far side and given away by Albrighton, and Werner is running at Fofana. He's got support from Ziyech. He goes in alone. It takes a deflection and bobbles just wide of the goal away to our right. And Albrighton, almost the architect of a Leicester downfall there. A short ball into midfield. Werner sensed the opportunity, ran at the defence, but couldn't get enough power or accuracy in the shot, took the deflection and will take the corner.
Yeah, poor ball, clumsy ball from Mark Albrighton. Don't forget, those square balls, if they're not accurate, they get cut out and they put you in big peril. That's exactly what happened there. That was a poor decision from Mark Albrighton. And Timo Werner was onto that pretty quickly, immediately on the half turn, got it, drove at the heart of that Leicester defence, got to the edge of the box, kind of dragged the shot a little bit with a slight deflection to give them a corner.
He doesn't look particularly great, Timo Werner, on his haunches on the edge of the area, back on his feet now as the corner is about to come in from Reece James. It was a deep one, arc towards the far post. Werner gets there, but I think the ball went out of play, and that will be a goal kick away to our right. Wasn't the greatest of deliveries from Reece James.
It was always a bit big, that. You're right, Timo Werner is just still feeling the effects of that challenge, actually, where he got the yellow card that he put on Luke Thomas. You often see that sometimes a player about to make the challenge and then they just lose their footing, then they kind of trying to pull out of the challenge, and when you do that you often get hurt, and that's exactly what happened for the Chelsea man.
Here is Thomas in the left full-back position, looking to try and curl it down into the left channel as Leicester look at it. Blocked by Reece James, picked up by Jorginho, twirling away from Perez, back to Thiago Silva, under pressure from Vardy, guides it to Arrizabalaga, who, wearing grey, kicks it long towards the halfway line. 2 minutes of added time at the end of the first half. Leicester coming forward, Tielemans clipping it on. Vardy's in a bit of space, tries to nudge it towards goal with his head and misses the target. Oh, what a chance for Leicester again. And for all Chelsea's dominance in the game in terms of possession, Andy Townsend, actually Leicester have had the better chances.
They've had the better situations, you're right. Vardy there just kind of mistimed his jump, his leap. It's a clever little clipped ball forward from Yuri Tielemans. Plays it first time. Vardy, there he is, he's just onside and he steps in behind Thiago Silva. And he just sort of jumps a little bit at the wrong time. Can't quite get the contact he requires. And no real problems for Kepa in the end with that one, but they've got themselves into this game now, Leicester. At the start of it was pretty much Chelsea dominating the ball and all played in Leicester territory, but as the half's gone on, Leicester have had one or two situations where they just might have made a bit more of it.
Neither team has had a shot on target in the game as of yet. 56% possession for Chelsea, 7 shots to Leicester's 4. No one's had a shot on target. Chelsea have had 5 corners. Leicester haven't had any. Leicester in their first FA Cup final since 1969. They've never won it. They are the team that have been in the most FA Cup finals without doing so. Chelsea in their fourth final in 5 years. Here is Mount trying to nudge it back to Conte inside the Leicester penalty area. Conte winning it inside the box and taking it towards the corner flag now, with Chelsea on the attack in the final few seconds of this first half. He has a chance to cross it. Didn't do particularly well, but found Mason Mount, and then Soyuncu has to dive in and put it out for corner number 6.
Yeah, another chance for Ziyech, who comes out, who will be swinging this one in with his left foot. It's just interesting whether or not he goes under the bar. Still Rudiger, Alonso, Thiago Silva, they hold their position at behind the penalty spot.
Interesting. This is the first time I think Thiago Silva has come up for a corner in recent times. He's just been called up by Mason Mount because he was just hanging back slightly, being a little bit nervous to do so. It's in towards the near post, and there is a header towards goal. It was Thiago Silva, then Azpilicueta. It ricocheted and was cleared away, and that's the last action of the first 45 minutes. You know, Leicester have never beaten Chelsea in the FA Cup, but they have not been breached yet, and they probably had the better chances in that first 45. The 140th FA Cup final is still very much in the balance. It's Chelsea 0, Leicester City 0. Thanks, Sags. Yeah, welcome back to the commentary box. I've just seen Jorginho go up to Timo Werner and just grab hold of him by the shoulders, tap him on the side of the arm and say, come on.
Yeah, let's go. Let's step it up a little bit. Yeah.
Interesting. No changes in personnel at half-time. Remember, there was a change in the first half because of an injury to Johnny Evans for Leicester. Leicester shooting towards their fans. That might be significant that both sets of players are shooting towards their respective supporters in the second half. Chelsea from right to left in blue shirts, blue shorts with thick yellow trim and white socks. And Leicester in maroon with a big thick white stripe down either side of their kit. They have the ball inside their own half, with Soyuncu had 2 good headers that he didn't capitalise on. Sends the ball long, it goes into the arms of Arrizabalaga, who is the Chelsea goalkeeper. Azpilicueta, Thiago Silva, Rudiger, James and Alonso making up the back 5, with James playing as a third centre-half alongside Thiago and Rudiger. In midfield it's Conte and Jorginho, Ziyech and Mount supporting Werner, who's been booked. Leicester have Schmeichel in goal, Fofana, Soyuncu and Castagna as the back 3, with Albrighton and Thomas as the wing-backs, Tielemans and Didi in midfield, Perez behind Iheanacho and Vardy in attack. It's 0-0. Leicester have headed the ball forward towards the edge of the box. Iheanacho can't squeeze it through to Vardy. Comes back into midfield and Tielemans, and then back out towards the right side through the legs of Alonso to the Nigerian, who's tracked by Thiago Silva. It goes out for a throw-in down towards our right. Iheanacho trying to roll past Alonso. There's a tangle of legs. The ball breaks loose. Jorginho takes it on for Chelsea, plays it against Albrighton. It goes out for a throw-in in the left full-back position. Andy Townsend is alongside me.
Yeah, it's been very, very tight so far, and if the opening couple of minutes of this second period are anything to go by, it's going to be more of the same. And of course, in a cup final, as much as you want to push and you want to press and you want to try and take the game by the scruff of the neck, you're also very mindful. You don't want to go behind either. So the game is tight, and it will get tighter still unless someone produces a little bit of quality, something perhaps we haven't quite had so far. We've had a lot of effort, a lot of commitment. It's been good and it's been watchable. We just need that spark, that little bit of brilliance.
It is the second time that Leicester and Chelsea have met in a domestic cup final. The Blues defeated the Foxes 3-2 on aggregate in 1964-65's League Cup final. A 3-2 win at Stamford Bridge, and 0-0 draw at Filbert Street when Wembley wasn't the venue. Fofana makes a mistake. He headed it behind himself, and that's allowed Werner to run at the defence. He's got support from Mount inside the box. He goes down the left, gets there, tries to play it against Fofana, miscued it, fell over. The ball goes behind and away for a goal kick away to our left-hand side. A little bit of trouble caused by Fofana losing his navigation system.
Yeah, he just got caught under that one, on just inside his own half, 5 yards from the halfway line. Just mistimed his leap, and that allowed Werner to just spin. But again, and Chelsea have had this. I thought in the Real Madrid games, the games against Madrid in the semi-finals of the Champions League matches, they found that cutting edge. They created so many chances. And the Chelsea that I'm witnessing again today, they're not the game's not in threat or in doubt for them or under any real threat. It's just that they're not creating enough good situations for those forwards at the top of the field. They've got to take a bit of care. They've got to find that little bit of quality that they've got, there's no question.
It has been a bit of a problem under Thomas Tuchel, where they have become so reliable defensively. It has taken a little bit away from their attack.
Yes, it has.
And even when they've had chances, they've missed a lot of them. And in the Real Madrid game that you mentioned, they rivaled hen and stag parties for the number of shots that were going their way. Here is Conte, deep inside his own half, trying to get the ball clear. And there might have been an infraction over on that far side as he collided with Iosi Perez, who's gone down under the pressure. And the ball is out over on the far side for a throw-in. Perez is not at all comfortable and is now down on his knees trying to get back to his feet. Michael Oliver says play on. He's now hobbling back into position, and Chelsea have the ball over on the far side. It remains 0-0. You're listening to TalkSport. Brendan Rodgers has won at Wembley before. He took Swansea into the Premier League with a Championship playoff victory here. 7 domestic trophies for Celtic, but he never quite got over the line with Liverpool. We had a bad day against Aston Villa here in a semi-final in 2015. But he knows how to develop a team, and that's a mistake by Fofana. Interception by Alonso. Fofana recovers just about, nicks it, wins it, takes it to halfway. Brighton now can get on it and deliver a ball into a dangerous zone. Arida Balaga has to be alert with his starting position to get rid of that, and then that's just a beautiful touch by Mount to take it out of the sky. Werner's offside, but the referee has allowed play on anyway, and Tielemans has nicked the ball back so it doesn't materialise into anything. But what a touch from Mason Mount, and what a ball from Brighton,
wasn't it? It's the perfect ball for Jamie Vardy. Michael Brighton hitting that very early, curling that in behind Rudiger and Thiago Silva, looking for Vardy, but Kepa was in a really good position. Come out, made a nice solid contact, and immediately clipped the ball in behind the Leicester back line. But again, just a few signs in the last minute that the game now is just starting to get a little bit more stretched.
Still goalless. You're listening to TalkSport. Alonso has it on the near side. Sam Matterface and Andy Townsend at Wembley Stadium here in northwest London. And Tielemans just overrunning and fouling Jorginho. And Mount just getting some instructions from Thomas Tuchel, who's wearing a baseball cap now, and trying to just get a little bit more specific with his instructions to his team. He is apparently very clear at giving information, Thomas Tuchel, which is why Chelsea believe that they've had an upturn over the course of his tenure. And they've taken that free kick quickly. No further punishment for Tielemans. Jorginho flicks it forward, touched neatly by Ziyech in centre field towards Conte, who's just in front of the centre circle, runs halfway inside the Leicester half and then moves towards the edge of the box, gives it to Alonso, got past Fofana, who's becoming a little bit porous at the start of this second half. 1 or 2 times Chelsea defenders have just got the wrong side of him.
Just a bit of movement on the Leicester bench. I think James Maddison will be entering the fray any time now. It's just interesting to see who. Maybe the obvious one is Iosi Perez.
He took that knock, didn't he?
Yeah, he just took that little bit of a knock. But I think as well, that doesn't disrupt the shape of the team too much. I just wonder also whether or not it might be Iheanacho. That's going to be a brave one from Brendan Rodgers. And that really would allow Maddison to play a lot more free and allow Vardy to go right up the middle.
Here is Ndidi, just left of the centre circle, winning the ball back after Chelsea threatened to come forward. Then Conte comes across and says, no, you're only having it for a second, pal, that's mine. Turns it over, and Chelsea bring it clear over the halfway line. Mount gallops, he runs down the left channel, looks to take on Castagna, tries to come back infield, and then Castagna sticks to his task, but Mount retains possession of the ball, goes back to Rudiger, 10 yards in front of the halfway line, then in front of the centre circle, Conte sweeps it wide to the right now. Pilicueta, who had a half chance in that first half, where the ball just went narrowly over his head from A centred ball into the box. Down the right it goes to Conte. Werner's waiting in the centre. It's over his head. And there's Alonso with a header. And he sends it straight down the throat of Kasper Schmeichel. It's taken 54 minutes, Andy Townsend, but we have had our first effort on target.
We have. And Kasper Schmeichel's had to get his hands on the ball, although it was pretty tame. The header in the end from Alonso was a difficult one. He was backpedaling. It was a nice cross from N'Golo Conte. And Alonso, as ever, as you would expect, even though he's in that left wing back position, high up the field, meets that header at the far post, but because he's backpedaling, just can't generate any real power.
Well, Jamie Vardy has had a curious season so far. He was on fire in the first half of the campaign with 13 goals before Christmas. It's been a different story since then. Only twice in 24 games has he found the target. And I just wonder whether or not, if you're right, Maddison does come on for a Iheanacho. It just makes him the focal point of the team again.
I just think sometimes his runs are inhibited a little bit by just the fact that he's got someone up there standing in those sort of areas. You can't knock Iheanacho. He's been incredible this year and his goals have been absolutely crucial, but sometimes I wonder if it's taken a little bit of that freedom of movement that Vardy's always got and is always so prevalent in his game. I wonder it's taken a little bit of that away from him.
Ball headed away by James on the halfway line for Chelsea. Comes back via Mason Mount to Rudiger. Kepa Arrizabalaga sends it long, high up the field. Fofana should head this away from Werner. It runs into the centre circle. There was an offside flag up against the German anyway. It's going to be a free kick to Leicester City. 10 minutes gone in the second half. It's Chelsea 0, Leicester City 0. Remember, all the playoffs, the semi-finals and finals are only here on TalkSport. We've got the Champions League final, the Europa League final. The end of the season is going to be massive, and then it's the Euro 2020. Ball into the box by Tielemans. It's a dangerous one for Vardy, but it was spotted by Reece James and nudged behind for Leicester's first corner of the game.
That was a good ball in from Yuri Tielemans, delivered nice and early, quickly, just as Vardy and co would like it, but Reece James was onto that one, anticipated, got a decent block, but just Leicester now sensing that maybe this is a good little period for them. Can they make it count?
There was an Albrighton cross into Soyuncu the other night that put them in front against Manchester United. Tielemans is going to take this corner. It's right-footed. It's aimed towards the far post. James with another important header. Albrighton's got it, slides it back out of Tielemans. A chance for another cross from a better angle. It's delivered to the far post. Alonso's there again to glance it away. And it goes out and away for a throw-in over on the far side by the corner flag. Bit of pressure from Leicester. Andy Townsend.
Yeah, good ball in again, Yuri Tielemans. Nice delivery. Wide on the right. Whipping it in, and I like to see it. I like to see players going for it. When they're going to cross it, don't just stand it up. You give defenders and goalkeepers a big chance to deal with it. You make them favourite. Whip it in, wrap your foot around it, put some intent on it.
Brighton West Ham to come on TalkSport 2 a little bit later on, but we're in the second half of the 140th FA Cup final. The ball didn't go behind as Leicester fans hoped. It's cleared by Pilicueta towards the halfway line. Ziyech has it now, sends it back to Reece James. The longer this goes on at 0-0, I think Leicester will be happier. The ball is away by Thiago Silva, flicked on by Ziyech. Werner goes to chase. Fofana gets it back to his goalkeeper. And Mason Mount is being called to put pressure on Castagna on this near side as Schmeichel gets it to the Belgian, or Brighton, with Chelsea squeezing up high inside opposition territory. Kelechi Iheanacho comes to receive it. Chelsea look to rob it. Free kick is given against Rudiger. It's a little bit soft.
Again, Rudiger doing what he always does, going right in all the way with Iheanacho when he drops 20-30 yards into Chelsea's half. Chelsea centre-half goes all the way with him, but just gets a little too tight. Concedes a free kick, pressure relieved.
Crystal Palace against Aston Villa midday tomorrow. TalkSport 2. Chelsea women against Barcelona in the Women's Champions League final tomorrow. 8 o'clock TalkSport. Monday, Bournemouth against Brentford on TalkSport 2, followed by Barnsley against Swansea. Tuesday, Oxford Blackpool in League One's playoffs semi-finals first leg, followed by Brighton against Manchester City live on TalkSport. We've got Newport Forest Green on TalkSport 2 at the same time. Wednesday night, Tottenham Aston Villa on TalkSport 2. We've got Newcastle Sheffield United on the app. We've got Crystal Palace Arsenal on the app, and I'll be at Burnley versus Liverpool at 8:15 live on TalkSport. What a week! It's going to be cracking. Here's Thiago Silva, long ball over the top for Fofana and Werner in a foot race, but it's going to go straight out of play. Well marshalled by Kasper Schmeichel. 0-0 just before the hour mark. This game's in the balance now.
It is. It's very much in the balance. I think Leicester have improved slightly since they've come out for the second half. Jorginho, N'Golo Kanté, Mount haven't perhaps dictated quite as much of the possession in this second period so far.
Ball forward by Castagna, looking for Vardy to cause problems for Thiago Silva, and he did. As Thiago Silva off balance, tries to volley clear, it goes out and away for a throw-in, down by the corner flag. Maddison still getting readied. Thomas Tuchel furious about that, thought it was a foul, complains to the fourth official Stuart Atwell, gets nothing from him.
Yeah, I thought it was a little bit of a nudge actually on Thiago Silva there.
Alonso tries to win it back, a tangle with Iheanacho, then swipes the ball away from Albrighton. Chelsea haven't won any silverware since the Europa League final of 2019, when the lush surrounds of Baku were turned into the Garden of Eden, in Nazard that is. And Giroud ripping it up. Giroud keeps getting a lot of attention from the Chelsea fans who like him. He's on the bench today. Albrighton down the right, again pinched and nudged away by Alonso, and out for another throw-in. It's been a little bit more Leicester City in this second half, Andy.
Yeah, I think they've tried to play a little bit quicker. I think sometimes first half might have been guilty of trying to keep possession when Chelsea bossed things. Now they're just trying to get it forward that bit quicker.
Albrighton into the near post, flicked away by Rudiger. Another corner for Leicester City. Away in front of their fans, away to our right. A roar from the Foxes behind the goal. Their flags around their heads, waving them in the air as Yuri Tielemans lines up another set piece. Brendan Rodgers trying to get instructions on to his team. Chelsea warming up. Christian Pulisic, Kai Havertz and Olivier Giroud away to our left. Hamza Chowdhury and Maddison going through their paces for Leicester. Those on the pitch looking for this Tielemans delivery. Chelsea trying to defend it. Leicester trying to attack it. It's a short one. Comes back from Perez to Tielemans, and what a waste. It's robbed and Chelsea win it, and Conte will take this away towards the halfway line. Werner tries to spin. There's a couple of ricochets. Leicester win it back. Castagna and Luke Thomas help it out to the right side. Albrighton with a cross now over the head of Jamie Vardy. It runs into the right full-back position, and Reece James will try and keep this in play and find Mason Mount in a sliver of sunshine on the far side.
We've got all the substitutes warming up, Sam, as you just mentioned, all below us, and it's like which coach wants to blink first, who wants to try and make that change in order to see how this game will develop. I thought it was going to be Maddison. He was ready to go probably 7 or 8 minutes ago, and yet during that period Leicester have probably had their best moments in the game.
Rodgers has just turned to him now. Won't be long before we see James Maddison. If I told you at the beginning of the season that there would be an FA Cup final for Leicester City and James Maddison wouldn't be picked, you'd be surprised. But he's about to come off the bench. Is he about to come off the bench and have a major say in the destination of the FA Cup itself? It's Chelsea 0, Leicester City 0, live on TalkSport with Sam Matterface and Andy Townsend. Remember, straight after this game, we will take your calls on the Cup final. 08717 223344. We've got the interviews live, the trophy lift, the lot, the analysis. And tomorrow, the Champions League final, the Women's Champions League final. Here is Conte down the right, into the box, sent wide towards Azpilicueta, whose cross was poor. Straight into the arms of Kasper Schmeichel, who tidies up away to our left.
Yeah, that's where you miss Reece James, with respects to Cesar Azpilicueta. He's such a great guy to have in your camp and your squad, and a great leader for this Chelsea team. He doesn't have that quality, that feel Reece James has at the top of the field.
Vardy darting down the left, James across there doing his job, which is detailed to him specifically today to contain Jamie Vardy, rushing him towards the halfway line, ushering him out of harm's way. A mistake again by Fofana. That's 3 in the second half. No one to pounce on it for Chelsea again, and it's cleared away down the right by Castagna, and Thiago Silva just about brings it down in front of the box
Everything's so effortless for Thiago Silva, Sam. It's like everyone is listening to heavy metal and he's got a bit of classical on his headphones. You know.
Here is Tielemans from distance, shooting towards the mark.
What a goal! It's a brilliant drive. Rodgers runs down the touchline to celebrate, and Leicester lead in the FA Cup final. And it's Yuri Tielemans who scored the goal. And Leicester are making the big boys blush again. What an effort from 25 yards from Yuri Tielemans. It's a wonderful FA Cup final goal, a terrific strike, and there was no chance for Kepa Arrizabalaga. And it's Chelsea 0, Leicester City 1.
You know what? Fair play to Leicester City, because since the restart they have been the team on the front foot. It's Chelsea that have only had the odd little break, the odd little counter-attack. In the main, the game's been played in Chelsea's half, and it's Leicester have been pushing, they've been probing, they've been trying to find a way forward, a way to break this Chelsea team down, and that's the way to do it. If you can't find that pass in front of you, have the courage, have the conviction to stride into a bit of space, get your head down and thump it. And that is exactly what Yuri Tielemans has just done, and he has nailed it. He has hit that so sweet, and Kepa goes big with that left hand and gets nowhere near it.
Yuri Tielemans came close in midweek with a daring effort at Old Trafford. Now Leicester City are daring to dream. This time he's hit the spot. He may just have hit the jackpot. What a strike. 25 yards from goal, right-footed into the top corner of the net. Have some of that. That is some finish. And now Chelsea have got to respond. Here's Hakim Ziyech from distance on the volley, deflection corner.
Well, immediately, as you would expect, Chelsea stunned and shocked into action. And what have they got? They've got plenty on the bench for Thomas Tuchel to turn to. Christian Pulisic, again, I think will be imminent. And he won't be the only one, because Chelsea have got to force their way back into this now.
What a goal from Yuri Tielemans. Ziyech now with a corner towards the far post. Mount underneath it. Fofana read it. Manages to clear it away. Talk Sport. It's Chelsea 0, Leicester City 1. And what a goal from Yuri Tielemans to light up Wembley and light up this cup final. I think the game needed a goal.
It did.
It's got one now. Oh, James late on a Iheanacho. Tielemans encouraged to run down the right. He's stopped by Reece James, goes back to the halfway line. Castagna plays it infield. Chelsea have got an excellent cup record over Leicester. They've never lost to them, but in recent times they have struggled against the Foxes, Andy.
Yeah.
And they are struggling a little bit here in this second half. Leicester have come out a little bit better, and now they've got the goal and their noses in front. Ziyech down the left, curls it round the corner, tries to find Werner. Hasn't really got into the game in the second half, Werner. Pulisic about to come on. So is Maddison for Leicester City. Two number 10s on the sideline about to enter the fray.
Sam, in that game against Manchester City in the league, when Chelsea really did well in the second period, it was Reece James that made it happen from that right wing back position. He tormented Benjamin Mendy. He couldn't cope with him. I'm amazed that Tuchel doesn't switch that now.
On by Conte into the area, looking for Werner, doesn't reach him, and it's all the way back by Castagna and into the arms of the goalkeeper Kasper Schmeichel. Yuri Tielemans on the score sheet for Leicester City, and they lead against Chelsea in the FA Cup final. He's the first Leicester City player to score in an FA Cup final since Ken Keyworth in 1963. Haven't played in the cup final since 1969. Two changes, and on comes Ben Chilwell and Pulisic. Off comes Kelechi Iheanacho as called by Andy Townsend, and on comes James Maddison for Leicester City, who lead in the cup final by a goal to nil. And it's Ziyech and Alonso who come off for Chilwell and Pulisic. And Chilwell, who I don't think is Mr. Popular with the Leicester fans,
no,
comes on.
He's just going to have to live with that, Ben Chilwell. That's not going to be phasing him one bit. He's out there to try and get beyond Mark Albrighton? Can he start delivering something at the top of the field? I think Chelsea have needed a change. I think Pulisic's running power, his ability to wriggle out of those tight areas where the Leicester players are now energised by this lead. It's amazing. It's amazing what that does for you, Sam, in a game when you score, when the legs, you just start thinking they're just starting to go a little bit, then all of a sudden you've got yards more back in them, you've got tons more energy to move forward from. It's amazing what it does for you, a goal like that.
Just picture a scene that has been missing for so long as Tielemans strikes the ball into the top corner behind the goal away to our right. The Leicester City fans go wild, mad. They're mobbing each other, they're all over each other, the scarves are in the air. It's a scene that we've been denied for so long. What a moment in an FA Cup final for Youri Tielemans and Leicester City and their supporters. Have Chelsea got an answer? Here is Jorginho inside the Leicester half, out to James, and then reversed into Pulisic. Pulisic now on to Conte. Conte, right angle of the box, attacking the goal to our left. It's now with Jorginho, hounded by Maddison. Turns it to Rudiger. Chilwell's on the left. Werner waiting in the centre. Mount wants it. He hasn't seen much of the ball in the second half. Goes back to Jorginho instead. Chelsea 0, Leicester 1 on TalkSport. Here is Jorginho again. Now on to Reece James. Chelsea going sideways but not going forward enough. And Leicester defending well, in a great shape. Yeah,
Leicester camped on the edge of their 18-yard line, just allowing those midfield players to work out towards the ball. And they're comfortable defending deeper. You usually are. If you've got a goal in your back pocket, for Leicester they defend deep, then they got to use Vardy very cleverly in the transition.
1-0 to Leicester. Leicester City, always the bridesmaid, never the bride in the FA Cup. Maybe that's about to change. Here on the left is Werner, trying to do something about it. Blocked by Fofana. Looked a little bit vulnerable in the first few moments of the second half, but has steeled up again now. He's there again to intercept as Jorginho wraps the ball towards the edge of the box towards Mount. Comes back out and is cleared by Leicester, but only as far as Jorginho once more. Down the right it goes, into Pulisic. What can he do? Injects a bit of pace. Out to the right, Azpilicueta. Mount inside the box, skips it past the defender. Goes and tries to take on Soyuncu. Goes down, referee waves his hand, says play on, no penalty. Mount was up quick enough anyway, and it goes into the arms of Schmeichel.
Yeah, just a very tentative challenge, wasn't it, from Soyuncu on Christian Pulisic there. Didn't want to dip his leg in too hard. Beg your pardon, it was on Mason Mount, but just does enough. Just gets that vital little touch.
20 minutes to go, ball out of play. Castagne's made a mistake. Ball is out for a throw. He's gone down, Castagne, because of an incident on this near side. They're not going to lose another player to injury, are they? Imagine if Leicester City were to win the Cup despite losing Johnny Evans after half an hour. What a story for Brendan Rodgers. He talked about not getting too excited when things go right, not too down when things go wrong. Being a manager and being level-headed, I don't know if those two things actually go together very well. But I tell you what, when that goal went in, he went running down the touchline with his hand in the air. He knew it was a magical moment. And he wanted to celebrate with the fans. I don't blame him. What a goal. And it's set up this cup final perfectly. The final 20 minutes are going to be significant, especially seeing as these two teams have still got another final to play effectively on Tuesday night. Here is Pulisic down the right, getting into the area, trying to cross. Brilliant defending by Ndidi. It's another Chelsea corner.
Yeah, that's what Pulisic does well, receiving the ball down the side of the 18-yard box, a couple of sharp touches, and again he's very dangerous. So you just want to get tight, you don't overcommit, you don't lunge in with someone like Christian Pulisic, you just try and smother him, you get very close to him. Leicester do that but concede the corner.
James to take it, right-footed, his left hand in the air, he swirls it towards the penalty spot. Thiago Silva underneath it, Castagne comes out and manages to get it away. Good strong header by the Belgian, and it's up to the halfway line. Remains 1-0 to Leicester City. Kepa Arrizabalaga has it at his feet now. Chelsea, who have made a couple of changes, Chilwell coming on and Pulisic coming on. Running towards the right side now, Pulisic tries to get into the channel. Azpilicueta winds up for a cross, again deflected behind. I think it might have gone out for a throw-in down by the corner flag rather than a corner. And it's Chelsea's ball, thrown in by Azpilicueta. Strictly and quickly to James, and then on to Jorginho. A couple of extra touches that were unnecessary before getting the ball to the edge of the box. Now Conte's got it, tries to flick it wide. Pulisic's not going to get a hold of that one, and then there's a foul by Azpilicueta. That's going to be a free kick, and Leicester City have the ball again.
Yeah.
Thomas Tuchel's got some work to do.
He has got some work to do. And at the moment, Pulisic's looked quite lively since he's come on. So they want to try and feed him as much as they can. And I will come back to the Reece James scenario, but I really think he should be pushing further forward. It should be he now that's leading the fight down that right-hand side, not Azpilicueta.
Is that one of those situations where
He's made that change, and he doesn't want to change it, Sam, because he knows everyone will pick up on it. Well, if you're worried about that, you can't be a top coach, you can't be the best, can you, if you're going to worry about things like that?
Do you think that sometimes you can overthink a situation?
Yes, I do. And I think all coaches, probably more now than before, are guilty of that. I mentioned in that Newcastle defeat at Leicester at the King Power, where they were humbled by Steve Bruce's boys. I thought Brendan overthought that a little bit when Johnny Evans went off. And I do honestly feel now Chelsea are goal down. Reece James is probably the strongest right wing back probably in the country right now. Get him further forward.
And he's playing as a centre half. All right, they're going to make another change here. In fact, they're going to make another 2 changes, Chelsea, here, after bringing on Chilwell and Pulisic. I think they're going to bring on Kai Havertz and Callum Hudson-Odoi. Now, who would you take off in this scenario?
Well, that's a very interesting one, because if Hudson-Odoi is coming on now, you would imagine, is he going to play in one of the forward positions? I wouldn't want to take Mason Mount off for his energy and his industry. Timo Werner, don't know whether he's coming off. He's right by the bench, but he's walking back on the field.
Jorginho's coming off.
I was going to say one of the sitters. You don't need 2 sitters. You're 1 down.
It just means that Mount will just drop back a little bit, I think. Kai Havertz comes on. Callum Hudson-Odoi. Is he going to go over on that far side to take over from Azpilicueta? He is, you know. Azpilicueta's coming off, and Hudson-Odoi is going to go as a right wing back.
You just could have, as soon as they scored, switched that round. Just say to Reece James, go and play further forward. Even if, do you know what, sometimes you even have to do that as players. You do that, you don't have to wait for the coach. Now the coach has made the change, as Azpilicueta has come off, and Callum Hudson-Odoi now will operate down that right-hand side. But I think Chelsea have missed possibilities there with Reece James. He was, and has been, so prominent recently.
I think Azpilicueta has actually got a head injury and is being assessed for concussion down in front of us, so that may well be the reason they've been forced into that change. But as you say, all this could have happened beforehand. The Leicester City player who's down on the far side is Luke Thomas. He's just been taken off over on the touchline. They haven't decided to replace him yet. You have to be a little bit careful. What a story it will be if he ends up being on the winning team in the cup final. Hudson-Odoi takes the ball down the right. He's nobbled by Ndidi, goes down. That's going to be a free kick to Chelsea. And immediately they have the opportunity to try and create something here. And they've got to get back into this cup final, and there's not too long to do it. We're in the 77th minute of the game. They've made their changes, a lot of changes. 4, they've got 1 left. Here is the free kick, whipped in towards the far post. Another poor delivery that by Chelsea, headed away by Ndidi. Now it's with Reece James over on the far side. Flick back out to the left, Ben Chilwell, who has the ball and has a lot of attention from the Leicester fans. Into Conte. Conte back to the halfway line. He doesn't really get the same level of abuse from the Leicester fans. You don't get abuse from anyone, does he? He drives a Mini Cooper and he's always smiling. Here is Pulisic down the right, moving towards the angle of the penalty area. He's got Maddison for company. He sets it back to Conte. He could cross. He takes a couple of extra touches, goes down the right side, then does cross, and then trying to get up there was Chilwell, hits the post, comes back towards Havertz, and it's cleared behind and away for a corner. Wow. Oh, that was a big chance. It could have been a real Big Ben moment, as Ben Chilwell, the former Leicester player, rises and heads the ball onto the post.
Yeah, he just got enough on it, didn't he? It's a good header that from Ben Chilwell. He climbs above Castagna. It bounces in front of Kasper Schmeichel, who has to leap to his right, and is thankful it comes off the post.
Oh, I think he got a little bit on that.
Might have got a hand.
Headed down into the penalty area from the corner. Again cleared away by Leicester City, who have been incredibly resolute so far in the game. They lead courtesy of a wonder strike from Tielemans. An absolute thunderbolt from the Belgian.
Since the goal, which is often the case, because you go in front, now all of a sudden you've got something to protect. You tend to drop 5 or 10 yards, so therefore you haven't dominating possession. Chelsea now very much in the ascendancy. They're playing in Leicester territory, trying to force the issue.
Here's Rudiger out to the far side. Hudson-Odoi tries to skip past the attentions of Castagna and of Luke Thomas, and Luke Thomas manages to get away with the ball on the far side. Hudson-Odoi is penalised for a foul.
He's played well, Luke Thomas. He's played very well. He's been on the front foot, stepping into challenges, hasn't shirked any of them.
Well, you know, I think when we found out that Luke Thomas was playing at left wing back, Maddison was on the bench, maybe 1 or 2 eyebrows were raised.
Definitely.
But Brendan Rodgers, at this moment in time, looking up at the big clock and seeing there's only 11 minutes left, has got it spot on. And he was right. He was right yesterday when he said we're the people's choice. You know, a lot of neutrals will be delighted if Leicester City get over the line here because of what happened with the ESL, and because the big boys always win this. Only twice in 25 years has someone other than Liverpool, Chelsea, City, United and Arsenal won the FA Cup.
Yeah, they're not a big underdog today, this Leicester team.
No.
They're not a huge underdog, but second favourite, yeah.
They certainly are not a huge underdog because they're probably part of what should be described as at least a top 7. And they've probably earned the right, bearing in mind they've won the league at a lot more closer proximity than Arsenal and Tottenham to a top 6. Here is Rudiger on this left-hand side. Certainly they will be considered as such now. These are the big boys if they win today. Silva out to the right. James. Brendan Rodgers said it. It also sets a precedent for other clubs. This is what you can do. This is, any club can do it with good management, a little bit of investment, foresight, planning, good coaching, recruitment. It's possible. Are Leicester City about to break the mould? They've won the title. Maybe it came too early. They've said that recently. This one, the FA Cup, could come right on time. Still 10 to go. Rudiger has it, left side. Across to Reece James, just in front of the centre circle. Meanders forward and then finds Hudson-Odoi into Pulisic, trying to turn away from Maddison. Have Chelsea got a moment of inspiration to come and try and level up this FA Cup final and take us into extra time? It's on to Mason Mount in the right wing position. Often provides it. Clips the ball forward. It's blocked by Soyuncu, travelled out there to stop him. It goes out of play and away for a throw. Quickly taken by Hudson-Odoi. And here's Mount, played in by Conte. Low ball into the near post, and then Soyuncu with a brilliant block.
Good block, really good block that, because actually there, Ben Chilwell and Werner sprinting in towards that 6-yard box. Soyuncu there, really important interception.
Well, the Chelsea fans have been calling for this. Werner has been sent to the sidelines. On comes Olivier Giroud. He calls Wembley his garden. He scored a penalty in a semi-final shootout, assisted the cup-winning goal for Arsenal in 2014, scored off the bench in the 2015 final, came off the bench to set up the winning goal against Chelsea in 2017, scored in the semi-final for Chelsea here in 2018 against Southampton, then was part of the team that won the cup against Manchester United. He scored in the semi-final here last season. No wonder he loves Wembley.
Wes Morgan has just come straight on to go and pick him up, Sam. As soon as Olivier Giroud hasn't even touched the ball yet, and a change has been made, and Wes Morgan said, he's mine, it's my territory.
And Chowdhury's come on as well. So, dice rolled, dice countered. Let's see what happens next. Chowdhury and Morgan on for Leicester City. Here is Thiago Silva. He'll look now for Giroud, who's peeled off to the left, and then Rudiger shoots from 30 yards.
Why does centre halves always have...
It's miles wide.
Do you know, I remember Yunus Kabul. I can remember watching him loads of times when he was playing, and he'd step forward and smash, and I'm thinking, just give it to someone that can shoot. And I'm looking at Rudiger there. They're offering you the shot. You're 35 yards out. The chances of you popping one in the top corner are remote. Keep the ball. Keep working this Leicester team that are dropping ever so slightly deeper as every minute ticks past.
Well, Leicester will love it. They're happy. Well, most of them are happy. I'm sure there's some Leicester fans that are having a right meltdown at the moment, being tortured by the fact that their team might be about to win the FA Cup for the first time. They've beaten Stoke City in the third round. They beat Brentford away in the fourth round. Brighton, Manchester United, Southampton. And now they're on the verge of beating Chelsea. 7 minutes to go. Leicester City lead in the cup final. A big 7 minutes for Brendan Rodgers. Havertz down the right, dancing towards the right wing position. He bounces into Hudson-Odoi. The ball goes back to the halfway line. It comes central and then left and out to Chilwell, who's hugging the touchline, into Mason Mount, who's being shackled by Chowdhury, who will nip at his ankles at every moment. And then Chowdhury runs and pressurises on halfway. Leicester trying to see this result over the line. Ball forward into Pulisic, lovely turn, past Ndidi, can't get past Tielemans. Giroud picks it up, sends it wide, misplaces the pass, and it dribbles out of play on this near side and away for a Leicester City throw. It might not just be Chelsea's day.
Well, they didn't play particularly well against Arsenal, did they? As I mentioned earlier, but they had lots of chances and situations, they just didn't take them. But they haven't really done that. Second half, again, Tuchel will be disappointed with what his players have given. Now look, when you've got Giroud and you've got Havertz and the likes of Mason Mount and Pulisic all up there in and around him, you've got to get it in the box. You've got to ask a question. Now, up to now, Chelsea haven't done that. They've got wide once or twice without anything really coming from it.
Ball sent long. Thiago Silva caught underneath it. Vardy's got the better of him into the penalty area. Gone down the right. Oh, it's prodded behind and away for a corner by Silva, who's just about recovered. Jamie Vardy turns round to the Leicester fans. He tries to whip them up behind the goal away to our right. It's a Leicester corner and there's not long to go. We're in the 85th minute of the FA Cup final on TalkSport.
That's what Jamie Vardy does, probably better than any other striker in the Premier League. I love a striker that gives me a bit of nuisance factor, a bit of value in chasing a lost cause. When you're one up in an FA Cup final, you need people that are going to do that. Brilliant play from Vardy.
Stockbridge steals Halifax Town, Fleetwood and Leicester City. He almost gave it all up when he went to the Championship with Leicester and went off to Ibiza because it wasn't working out. It's working out now. Here's Chowdhury into the area. It scoots through the box and goes behind and away for a goal kick away to our right-hand side.
Mind you, if you're going to go somewhere, Sam, Ibiza's not a bad shout. I mean, if you're going to give it up, I mean, let's, do it properly. It's not
I'll tell you what, there'll be a few Ibiza anthems on later on if it stays like this. And I think Jeff Peters will be DJing.
Do you know what, Brendan? I'm looking at Brendan and he's got his arms folded.
Stay calm, Brendan.
He's trying to stay calm. He's looking cool, but everything must be going at 500 mile an hour inside.
It will mean a lot to him. He was a coach at Chelsea for 4 years. Here's Callum Hudson-Odoi down the right, trying to get a cross into the box. Could this be a chance? It goes towards Giroud, headed away by Fofana. It's back with Rudiger. Don't shoot, says the Chelsea crowd. Comes back to Conte, midway point of the Leicester half. Shuffled to the right. James, Hudson-Odoi, trying to get round the outside. Can he get to the byline? No, has to chop back. He's stopped by Castagna. It goes out to the right. It's crossed into the box for Giroud again. Then comes back for Mason Mount. What a save by Kasper Schmeichel. Left-handed round the post and out for a corner. Terrific effort from Mount. Brilliant save. Blinding save by Kasper Schmeichel.
What a stop from Schmeichel. It's a stunning half volley from Mason Mount on his left foot. Hits it so sweet, but Schmeichel equal.
That could just win the FA Cup. Comes back out towards the edge of the area from the corner. Thiago Silva trying to keep it alive. Into the centre. Spilt by Schmeichel and then comes back out and he smothers it. Just about. I tell you what, there are 6,000 Leicester City supporters with their hearts in their mouths. There's 6,000 Chelsea fans behind the goal trying to pull that ball in. How has Mason Mount not scored an equaliser? I'll tell you how. Kasper Schmeichel, whose dad won 3 FA Cups, may just have won 1 for Leicester City.
Brilliant football. That's just great football all round. Mason Mount couldn't have hit the shot any sweeter. But a goalkeeper, an inspired goalkeeper, somehow sees it through the traffic and through the crowd and throws himself to his left and gets a big left hand on it.
That was outstanding. That's as good as a goal, that.
Brilliant, Sam. Wonderful play all round. Brilliant stuff, that.
Away by Schmeichel into the air. 2 minutes to go. Brendan Rodgers about to become the first manager to win the Scottish and English Cup since Sir Alex Ferguson. And you just wonder whether or not Chelsea are developing a little bit of a Wembley hoodoo. This is their 5th defeat in 8 trips. If it finishes like this, before that they'd only lost 4 of the previous 17.
Well, every time the ball comes in the box, there's 5 or 6 in there going in after it now, as you can imagine. Chelsea's desperation, and Leicester are giving everything to just try and keep them out. Chelsea still pushing.
Thiago Silva clips it long. Ben Chilwell round the back post, takes it round the goalkeeper. It's in! Ben Chilwell, formerly of Leicester, has equalised for Chelsea with a bit of a helping hand. With 90 seconds to go in the FA Cup final, Wes Morgan may have got the final touch. It doesn't matter. Chilwell is knee sliding towards the corner flag, and Chelsea are level in the FA Cup final. It's 1-1.
Incredible. What a brilliant ball it was, floated forward from Thiago Silva. And it was Marcus Alonso, I beg your pardon, Ben Chilwell in that left wing back position who just got going. Is he offside?
Is he offside?
Is he offside?
Is he offside? The VAR is going to look at this.
It is right on the money.
Chris,
it is millimetres.
Kavanagh, the VAR, assisted by Sean Massey-Ellis. They're checking. Are Leicester going to get a reprieve? It's very, very, very tight. There is a possible offside. I think it's offside. It is.
Wow.
Offside, goal denied. Leicester celebrate. Chelsea denied. It's a millimetre. But Ben Chilwell's big moment is over. And Leicester's big moment might just be about to come. What a decision in a cup final.
Incredible. And I've just seen for the first time fans who have all season been voicing their displeasure at VAR. They're going crazy at VAR right now, the Leicester fans. They're jumping up and down, every one of them, waving their scarves because...
Oh, it's so tight.
That was so tight. Such a call, that is. Such a difficult one, but it is factual. That's what offside is. He's just off.
5 minutes of additional time. Chelsea 0, Leicester 1. And Wes Morgan's blushes are spared. Can you imagine how he feels?
Oh.
Captain Morgan.
Since he's come on, we've just seen a challenge on the far side.
Reece James just pushed, I think it was Jamie Vardy, off the pitch as the decision went against Vardy, and Chelsea had the free kick. 5 minutes of added time, we're in the first of those.
Just saying, Sam, Wes Morgan, he's hardly been able to get those big legs going yet, and he's been involved in everything.
1-0 to Leicester.
He's there now, he's trying to marshal everybody, he's pulling Fofana next to him, he's dragging Soyuncu in tighter.
There's some opportunity for Chelsea to try and counter-attack though, with Pulisic running away from Chowdhury, who dives in but doesn't get the ball. Chilwell takes it on, can't quite believe what's happened to him in the last 2 minutes. Ball clipped forward by Rudiger. Havertz and Giroud underneath it. They both went for the same ball, and then it was glanced by Giroud behind and away for a goal kick. Well, when it's not your day, it's not your day, and it doesn't look like it's going to be Chelsea's day. And of the 24 clubs that have won the English title, Leicester City were the only ones that hadn't won the FA Cup until now. Brendan Rodgers swigs from a bottle of water, then places it down in the top corner of that technical area like a postage stamp. Is he sending that Leicester mob behind the goal home happier than they have ever been? When they boarded their coaches and came down the M1, there were banners draped over bridges all the way down the motorway wishing Leicester City good luck. Well, certainly they've got a bit of fortune here, but they've earned some luck as well. A foul by Havertz on Soyuncu.
Yeah, and every collision now, seeing a Leicester player tumble to the floor, is a chance for them to draw breath. and to just make sure that they see this game out now. They're just a few minutes away, that's all it is. Tuchel's frustrations are obvious. He's in his technical area, pacing up and down and flapping his arms up and down, because it appears this one is sliding away from his Chelsea boys.
Schmeichel clears up over the halfway line towards the corner. There is tension amongst the Chelsea contingent away to our left. Not one person has left this cup final. They've waited too long for it, and they ain't prepared to leave it yet. The Leicester fans are all on their feet away to our right. The flags are up, the scarves are being waved. Heartbreak followed by relief. VAR providing drama right at the very end with 90 seconds to go. Here's Jamie Vardy down the left in injury time. We've played 3 and a bit of the 5 minutes that have been added, and Leicester have won another corner over on the far side.
And do not expect James Maddison to whip this one in like he usually does. He's going to take this short, and they're just going to try and keep it in that corner, him and Yuri Tielemans.
Leicester, who have had so many disappointments in this competition, are about to enjoy one of their greatest ever nights in their history if they can see this over the line. There is 1 minute to go. Leicester City, a team rebuilt after the title success of 2016 by Brendan Rodgers, who's made an incredible impact at the King Power Stadium. He's hoping to take them into the Champions League. He is about to take them onto a platform and lift the FA Cup, unless ball cleared up towards the Leicester penalty area, away by Sayonchu, into Maddison. Vardy wants it. Maddison's heading for the corner, mate. He ain't going anywhere near the goal. He's given it away. Chelsea try to build down the right with Callum Hudson-Odoi. 30 seconds of the added time to play. The ball picked up by Havertz, back to the halfway line. Vardy's going across to make a foul. Referee says play on, he knows what he's trying. On to Pulisic, tries to run off Chowdhury, defends well Chowdhury. Now Conte drives forward, plays it to Havertz. There's space for Chilwell. They need a ball in the box here, Chelsea. It's up to Giroud. Morgan is there with a header away. It drips over the head of Reece James and then comes back to halfway. Mark Selby, Peter Shilton, Jamie Vardy, Gary Lineker, Richard III. There's going to be a few new legends in Leicester after tonight. Here is James as Leicester try to hold on. They have held on. There is the full-time whistle. And for the first time in their 137-year history, Leicester City are the winners of the FA Cup. The oldest cup competition in the world, finally conquered after years of trying. 4 times the runners-up, but Brendan Rodgers, Jamie Vardy, Kelechi Iheanacho, Johnny Evans, Kasper Schmeichel and Yuri Tielemans will go down in history as the first group of Foxes to ever lift this trophy. They sink to their knees, they run onto the pitch, all the support staff are on. They are grabbing hold of Kasper Schmeichel. Ndidi lifted into the air. Tielemans hoisted above everybody. Jamie Vardy's fairy tale is complete. The last box is ticked for Vardy. A terrific win for a terrific club that have slowly and steadily built their way under their late chairman and now his son to the top echelon of English football, and they are determined to stay there. The 2021 FA Cup winners are Leicester City, thanks to victory over Chelsea by a goal to nil, and what a goal it was.